Life Audio.
Welcome to the TMUS podcast, where we share how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together. Hey, everyone. We're Ted.
And Ashley Slater. Do you and your spouse struggle to find things to talk about? Today, we hope to help with that. We'll share 3 practical ways to spark conversation when you run out of things to say. So, Ted.
Yes.
I'm going to just admit right now that the opening that everyone just heard, we had to record it 3 times because I kept stumbling over my words.
Yeah.
And the opening is kind of like when we have company over, I'm like, I want the house to be clean when people first walk in. After that, I don't care. So it was like I wanted the opening to be clean.
So we can mess up.
If we mess up or stumble.
We can stumble over our words.
Exactly.
Freedom. Love it.
Yes. All right. Well, as you know, I spent a lot of time at Chick-fil-A last week.
Yes. More cows. Eat more. No, the cows are saying to eat there.
The cows are saying eat more chicken.
That's what they're saying.
Right. Well, I do like their chicken.
But everybody should.
I was there because 2 of our daughters had volunteered to work tech for a youth musical, and I needed a place to pass the time and to get some work done.
Tech are the people in black that you're not supposed to see between scenes.
Right. The invisible people.
The invisible people.
As the show The Grinder called them. Right. Well, there are some perks to working at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I want to hear some.
Well, one.
Free food? Discounted food?
No.
Oh.
They've gotten expensive like every place else. But I do use my app.
Oh, working at. You're not talking about being an employee at and working at Chick-fil-A. It's working and you're finding yourself present at the restaurant.
Yes, I did not realize that what I said could be taken the other way.
I just clarified that for everybody.
Thank you. Okay.
Carry on.
Well, I'm a fan of the food, which I do not get at a discounted rate, but I use my app religiously. So
yes, you do the sign of the cross.
So I get rewards. But here in Arizona, Cane's is a popular chicken place.
Very popular.
I think that I will always be a Chick-fil-A girl. Maybe because of our 9 years in Atlanta.
All right.
Where, we had a Chick-fil-A on every corner.
Oh, yes.
Not quite, but it's kind of like think Starbucks, that many. Yeah. Anyway, so 2, they play the right kind of music for editing a Bible study or Christian nonfiction book, which is what I was working on at Chick-fil-A.
All right. Are you going to mention what you heard or no? Just vague?
No, I don't remember specifically what I heard, but earlier in the week, because I was basically up there for 2 weeks, they had things every night related to the musical for 2 weeks. And this is like a 45-minute drive from home, so that's why I stay up there.
Yep.
But I had tried working in a boba shop that I like, and I think they forgot I was in there because no one else was there. The young adult employees, there started to be a lot of language in the songs, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. I'm editing a Bible study, and there's lots of language. So I got up and asked them politely if they could change the music, and they did, but I didn't want to have to ask again. So I moved to Chick-fil-A. Anyway, I am going somewhere with this. It's not just a plug for Chick-fil-A.
Prove it.
So, I was working there 3 to 4 hours at a time, several nights in a row. I noticed that many couples under 30 who came there, they didn't sit across from each other at the table or the booth.
Side by side.
They sat side by side.
Which is romantic, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to think?
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A?
You could be romantic anywhere.
Okay, well, one couple even fed each other their Chick-fil-A sandwich, fries, and a milkshake, and I was behind them, so I'm seeing this from the background.
Well, we do that all the time, don't we?
No. I think I've said don't ever feed me a Chick-fil-A sandwich. But I think I'm getting old and grouchy because I was sitting there going, I wasn't sitting there going, oh, that's so sweet. And normally I think young love is sweet. I was like, no. I'm really uncomfortable. This feels a little too intimate for Chick-fil-A.
Oh, no.
I know, and I even texted you about it.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it was really interesting to watch the couples that sat next to each other because, yes, they got that physical contact. Like another couple that sat in front of me in a booth and sat next to each other, they kissed a couple of times.
Femur to femur.
Yes. But then they were either not talking or on their phones. There wasn't a lot of conversation going on.
Okay.
And maybe I'm just old, but when I go eat, I feel like food is a connector. So it's I want to sit across from you and I want to look you in the eye and I want to talk to you and I want to see your facial expressions.
But one of our oldest daughters mentioned a term. It's shared playtime where you're doing your own thing and your loved one is doing their own thing, but you're situationally next to each other.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do that at home, but I'm thinking if you're going out to eat for a meal,
you could put your phone away just for a little
bit. I don't
know.
It could be a generational thing. Like I said, maybe I'm getting old and grouchy and unromantic. Right. I don't know. But it was interesting, you know.
It really is. It really is, yeah.
But I will say that we've been married 22 years. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we are sitting across from each other at a table eating, we run out of things to say. That aren't just like keeping life in the house and the schedule running type of things. Okay.
Yeah, we may be eating and I might say, this is good. How's yours? Can I take a bite? But the conversation is relatively tame and confined. And
I don't feed you that bite.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
So what are you thinking?
Okay, well, today I thought we'd talk about 3 practical ways to start talking to our spouse again when we've run out of things to say.
Perfect.
So after a short break, we'll share those.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Every child in foster care deserves to feel safe and loved. Through Wait No More, Focus on the Family provides a teddy bear for comfort, a Bible for hope, and a suitcase for security. But more than just essentials, this program offers warmth, faith, and a sense of belonging. Together, we can remind a child that they are seen, known, and deeply loved. Learn how you can make a difference at focusonthefamily.com/suitcasebundle.
So today we're discussing how to start talking again when we run out of things to say. And I want to clarify this a little bit. I'm not referring to when we can't communicate as spouses because either we don't want to, or there's conflict or disconnection or something that's come between us. I'm talking about those times when we genuinely want to connect and we want to talk. We just are at a loss. We can't think of new things to say other than, hey, how was work? Which is good. That's a connector. But an article at Psychology Today affirms that it's actually normal that sometimes you don't know what to say and it's not anything to worry about. The author of the article says, even the closest romantic partners can occasionally run out of things to talk about with each other. Although you might think this means that your relationship has run its course, it's natural to feel a little stuck in the chatting department from time to time.
That's a pretty drastic evaluation to think. We're having a hard time finding something to talk about, so we must have used up our relationship. It's all gobbled up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a little extreme.
It's a little extreme.
True. Well, I think we all go through seasons in marriage where we want to talk and connect with our spouse, but we struggle to find things to talk about.
Carry on. I was going to interrupt you, but go ahead. I think you've got a good plan. I was going to say something funny, but I don't need to be funny right now.
Okay. Okay. So here are 3 practical ways to help stir up conversation that I came up with. And after I share them, if you have any to add, throw them out there.
Maybe I do.
Maybe you will.
Maybe I will.
Okay. So the first one is spark conversation through scripture and stories.
Okay.
So I've been doing the Bible recap this year, and it's a chronological Bible reading plan with like a short daily recap from Tara Lee Cobble.
Right? Audio kind of thing?
Well, I'm doing it on Dwell Bible app.
Okay.
So I listen to, Tara Lee Cobble is the one who wrote the Bible recap or came up with it and divided it into pieces and then does a short daily recap. I think there's a book and a video. I listen to the podcast. So I'll listen to the Dwell Bible app. I'll listen to the chunk of scripture that it's on for that day. And then I'll listen to her recap.
Yeah.
And even though, I grew up in a Christian home, I've been reading the Bible all my life, and I'm learning new ways of seeing things or, interpreting pieces of stories that I was like, oh, I never caught that before.
Well, you mentioned something the other day that you got from it.
Right. I was listening to the passages in Genesis on Joseph, and I feel like I got some new insight into Like how, yes.
Like his motivations or the thinking behind his decisions that he made when he saw his brothers again.
Yeah, like how he forgave his brothers for selling him into slavery, but before he actually revealed himself to them and decided to trust them again, he tested them to see if they changed.
Yes.
It's really fascinating.
And their motivations for doing the right thing weren't, oh, this is our brother, let's be nice to him.
Right. There was no manipulation.
Right. It's just that they had changed.
It was really fascinating. And so I came home and I told you about it as evidenced by the fact that you're going, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it sparked conversation.
Exactly. So, talking about the words of Scripture can really help spark meaningful and interesting conversation, and I think help you grow together spiritually. We talked last week about growing together. And while obviously nothing compares to Scripture, you can also use the words in books or TV shows or songs to spark conversation. Like we do that a lot.
Or cereal boxes. There are a lot of words in cereal boxes.
Yes, and how would they spark conversation?
Well, what do you think of hydroxyl coordinastical and red 5?
Yeah, I'd probably be like, I don't have enough coffee for this right now. Let me look those up and see what they are.
We'll stick to scripture and books and movies.
I mean, whether it's those things or a cereal box, I think the key is to actively and thoughtfully engage the words of others and talk about them with each other. Listen, ask questions, and be respectful to each other's conclusions or takeaways. Like if you read me those things and you're like, I really like this one, and I'm like, I don't know. We'll just have to respect each other.
Right. Yeah.
On it.
And it'll be since it's new content, it's going to be it potentially could be a fresh conversation.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we've binged TV shows or watched TV shows together that sparked a lot of conversation.
Yes.
So
we could tangentize here, but I will hold myself in control.
Maybe someday we'll do a these TV shows helped us talk the most episode or something. Okay, so 2, spark conversation by getting nostalgic.
I remember when we used to spark conversation.
Well, hopefully we can do that again. So
nostalgic. That's a good term. What do you mean?
Well, studies show that nostalgia is a social emotion. The Institute for Family Studies explains, nostalgic memories regularly feature cherished family experiences such as holidays, extended family gatherings, family vacations, weddings, the birth of a child or grandchild, and religious rites of passage. However, even seemingly minor social encounters can become sources of nostalgia if they are savored experiences that make people feel deeply connected. They go on to say these memories also tend to involve complex emotions, but are overwhelmingly positive and even frequently include expressions of gratitude.
That's good. I got stuck on religious rites of passage.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the bar mitzvah I went to when I was 13 or 12. It wasn't mine.
Well, yeah, because you're not Jewish.
No, but it was somebody else's, and I still remember that. Have we talked about that?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it sometime.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that story. I mean, you'll tell it to me and then I'll know whether I've heard it or not. But so when we're stuck going back and recounting our shared stories or even stories that we haven't shared with each other and the emotions that go with them can get us talking. For example, like if we were to start talking about our honeymoon in Paris, we might then find ourselves talking about
sandwiches.
Yeah, that's not what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. They've got the best bread.
No, they do have an Italian food, right?
An Italian food.
It's getting us talking.
And excited and happy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of we're feeding off each other. And it might even get us talking about other trips we went on or things we've learned about traveling together.
Interesting. That's good.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another short break. And when we return, we'll share one more practical way to talk again when we've run out of things to say.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Every child in foster care deserves to feel safe and loved. Through Wait No More, Focus on the Family provides a teddy bear for comfort, a Bible for hope, and a suitcase for security. But more than just essentials, this program offers warmth, faith, and a sense of belonging. Together, we can remind a child that they are seen, known, and deeply loved. Learn how you can make a difference at focusonthefamily.com/suitcase bundle.
We're talking about how to start talking again. There's a lot of talking right there. When we've run out of things to say. So far, we've mentioned sparking conversations with the words of others and getting nostalgic. So the third one is spark conversation with flirting.
Explain.
All right. Well, flirting is a playful way to initiate and spark conversation. I mean, that's often how, when people first meet and when they're first dating, they spark conversation by flirting, right? And I think...
Not me. I've never flirted.
You're such a flirt. Oh, my lands. I think it's something we can forget to do, though, the longer we're married and the more we're navigating the stresses of life, like remembering to flirt or even feel like flirting when, and these are all real life examples we've gone through in the last 2 months.
Oh, 2 months.
When the washing machine is flooding the laundry room floor, or the carpets are bunching because they weren't installed correctly and you have to hire someone to come stretch them for you. Or you have to file a cracked windshield report with your insurance company for the third time this year. It's hard to remember to flirt or even feel like flirting when you're so distracted by all those things that are basically happening all at the same time.
Urgent things that you got to take care of.
Right. I mean, there's more on the list, but an article over at Psychology Today notes that flirting breaks the monotony of daily life and rekindles the connection between you two. Flirting is a wonderful reminder of the romance that brought you together, making partners feel loved and valued. And I think when we freshly feel that way, it sparks conversation. It gets us laughing together. It gets us playful.
So this is the second time that you've referenced Psychology Today. Are you spending your days over there just reading through?
No, they were just the best sources I found for today's topic.
They're great quotes.
I looked at other places that I regularly quote from, even had a stack of books on the bed looking through, and that's what I came up with.
Succinct.
Yeah.
Good.
So I can't say I read them regularly. I read them when I'm looking for something.
Okay. Yeah. That's flirting.
Yeah. Well, and in an article over at Focus on the Family, see, I did read someplace else, Lisa Jacobson, who's a fellow author, and she also happens to be a friend. I got to room with her at a blogging conference years ago.
Very cool.
Writes about how she tried a flirtation experiment with her husband, Matt, and she says it improved their overall communication.
Did she? What?
Yeah.
Are you going to provide a link to the article? Does she explain some examples?
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go over there and read it.
Right.
Okay.
I think she has they have a whole book on it too.
On flirting?
Well,
remember the title?
On this experiment, I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
I'll have to look it up and put it in the...
That's cool.
Show notes.
Good for her.
Yeah. So, to recap, are we ready to recap or you have anything to add? And you are.
Yeah, I've got something to add. We were actually talking before we started recording. I noticed yesterday, it was whoa, that our cats spark conversation.
Yes, they do.
We're just sitting there, the cat does something funny or just sits there or yawns or whatever, or rubs against you or steals food or does something. And it's a conversation. And if we did not have the cats, there would be less conversation sparked. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, because I don't know what would fill that,
Tamagotchi?
What's that?
When I was a kid, it was this little handheld little pet.
Oh, yeah, and they die if you don't feed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, our cats do spark a lot of conversation, a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you may not like cats, that's fine. But some other animal in your house could spark a conversation, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
Pets.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, or wildlife in the backyard. That also sparks conversation.
Absolutely.
We can look out our window and we have seen sheep and coyotes and roadrunners and rabbits.
Small children.
Yeah. Yes, this is true. All right. Well, to recap, here are some ways to spark conversation. 1, through scripture and stories. 2, by getting nostalgic. 3, with flirting.
Ooh,
and
I like the
4,
way you said that.
4, get a pet. So for this week's Us Time Challenge, pick one of these 4 ways to spark conversation with your spouse this week. And I recommend not buying a pet without talking to your spouse first.
Not cool.
Because that might not spark conversation. That might spark conflict.
That's good.
So thanks for joining us on the Team Us podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast, and we'd love to have you leave a review over at Apple Podcast. We're looking forward to next time as we keep talking about how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
Team Us with Ted and Ashley Slater is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review the podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.